So, the word LLM, large language models, is thrown around a lot, but there is also small language models. Large language models are basically AI models trained on vast sets of data to handle complex reasoning, creativity, and language understanding. So, when you say LLM, you need to think of billions of parameters and massive data sets and also complex hardware requirements. On the other hand, small language models are basically AI models trained on smaller data sets and they're optimized more for speed, low cost, and also limited complexity. So here you're thinking about millions of parameters instead of billions of parameters and lower hardware requirements. So, where does a small language model make sense? Think chatbots and customer support, think simple mobile apps with voice assistants, grammar correction tools, or language tools. But if you're looking at creative content generation, advanced code generation, debugging, and of course, multimodal interfaces, text, images, voice, if you're looking at AI agents, the first thing to think about is LLMs. So, the next obvious question which comes to mind is, do you need an SLM or LLM? And there are four things to look at when you're deciding between an SLM or LLM: complexity of the task, of course, the cost and hardware constraints, the real time response, and user data. So here's a simple table created to understand whether you need an SLM or LLM based on the four parameters that were listed down, right? So if you're thinking SLM, think tagging, classification exercises, limited budgets, tight GPU requirements, sub-second latency. What does that mean? So for example, you're chatting with a customer support agent, you would ideally like responses to come within a second. And of course, the user data on device, that's where you can think about SLM. But LLMs, on the other hand, you're thinking big, reasoning, creativity, looking at cloud-based infrastructure, and obviously massive investments in hardware. And also, when it comes to reasoning and creativity, the LLMs will take some time to respond. So maybe the sub-second latency is not a requirement for LLMs, but you would ideally want it to think and respond. So to conclude, basically, if you're thinking small, LLMs make sense. But if you're thinking large, creativity, reasoning, and that kind of infrastructure, then LLMs make more sense. So thanks for watching this video and stay tuned for more such videos.